Today we're at Kingman Wash Access Road in Arizona, just across the Colorado River from Las Vegas, from Nevada. And we are going to go to North Riverbend View Peak. We'll be looking over the Colorado River. Right now you can see some of the reference points that we will be looking at later. You can see Fortification Hill. The very tip of Mount Wilson is visible from here. And right beyond Jean-Luc, if you look right above his head, is Promontory Point. So Jean-Luc is going to describe where we're going today, how we're going to get there.
Yeah, today we are going to go down one of these canyons, several canyons, to reach the final branch of this canyon that reach on Lake Mead, and we will climb underneath a huge and tall cliff to finally pops up at the top of this butte just over the Hoover Dam. So the access road is the Kingman Wash Road, and you just have to pass the South Mine Road, probably a third of a mile or half of a mile, and then you choose a place to park your car, because as you could see, there is several branch of the same dry bed that links together in one of these branch. The second branch is just after the connection of the North Mine Road over there, where we could see a vehicle over there. And so, whatever you choose, you have to go down these canyons, and whatever you choose, they will link in one branch. And there's 2 or 3 tricks to know about that, but it's an easy way down on the gravel. Once we will be on the peak, we will follow a long ridge over the I-11 interstate and come back here. So it will be an easy hike, most of the time easy, and one difficulty.
Okay, so when we get to our destination, North Riverbend View, we'll be looking directly across the Colorado River to Promontory Point.
Yeah, but we will be just over the dam. So this hike is the third of a series of 4. We already did the first 2 ones, and this one is the third of this series.
Okay, so we've done Hoover Peak was the first one.
Yes.
Promontory Point was the second one. This is the third one.
Yeah, this is the third one. Okay.
Okay, here we go. So here we are, beginning by heading down this first canyon. And here we are in the canyon. Terrain changes dramatically after about 500 feet. Wow, look at this. It's like it's a different world from where we began. The wash we've been in is wide open, very gradual incline, but it looks like ahead this may change where we're headed. Not quite yet, but I'm thinking that we're going to end up in a more narrow canyon before we get down to the Colorado River. Okay, as we descend this nice wash, we're looking toward our goal. You can't see it from here, but we're going to end up on that high ridge. And Jean-Luc's going to describe what we're going to do to get there.
Yeah, so depending of the branch of the dry river you choose, you will all be connected to the reunification of the two main branches that link together before being a very slot canyon that you can't pass because of a waterfall. So we will show you how to turn around. But the main here goal is to go down the canyon that very soon we will become one, and then we will ascend on the bottom of the cliff where you could see this shady part that will bring us underneath the summit. On the top of this climb, we will do a right turn to find a bridge on the rock to climb the final last feet to the summit that we can't really see from here because it's just on the back. And then we will come back all along these ridges over this volcanic ashes deposit here, very thick deposit, and we will have the occasion to have a look all along this cliff. I could see from here an interesting arch on the ridge. We will take a picture of it, and this long walk will bring us at the end of this flat plateau. We will find an easy way to go down at the end of this plateau and traverse a series of badlands hills to come back to the car. So it's not a long hike to do, but the ascent and the final climb on the top of the cliff over there will be something. But I mean, it's always like that, you know. We need some difficulties. The rest will be easy cake.
Okay, we'll take a look at those difficulties very soon. And here's a 360-degree view. And you're looking up this canyon straight toward Mount Wilson.
So the interesting thing here is the mix of deposit of clay that was on the bottom of an ocean or a lake, where the magmatic chambers push underneath it and lift everything and twist it in every direction. You have a mix of limestone outcrop, clay compressed that became under the pressure and the heat rock, and you have over it all of these volcanic ashes deposit all along the ridges and the canyon. But you have to imagine that erosion cut through all of this, and it's just like if you have a multi-layer cake, very thick, and you take a knife and cut a V on the surface of the cake, so you have the view of the side of the layers. And so the more you go down, the more you could see interesting features, geologic features. Interesting place, beautiful too. The colors, especially on the rising sun today, it's really amazing. Look at that.
A lot of minerals.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of green copper.
Yeah, there's a lot of metal deposit here, gold, copper, but we are close from the volcanoes that bring back to the surface all of the heavier element, especially the metallic one, to the surface, you know. So you have to see the volcanoes as an event that rejuvenate the surface of Earth, bringing from down below the heavier element to the surface, okay? To the benefit of the humans because of the metals, but also minerals and stuff like that, plus the landscape, especially for the hikers.
All right, here we go. The connections here are pretty amazing. Here as we look ahead, we're actually looking at Promontory Point. I would not have recognized that from this perspective. That's just amazing. And let's take a look around. We're continuing to descend this wash. But just to imagine this, there's Mount Wilson. But it's pretty amazing when you get into these canyons. You just can't imagine from the road that you're 500 feet from canyons like this. It's just incredible.
And may I add something?
Definitely.
So, just like we saw 5 minutes ago, we will reach the back of this mountain to find a way to go up. But if you are not familiar with a hard slope, this is the way that you could use all along these slopes to reach the summit. It will be an easier way to do it. So basically we are not yet at the connection of the two main branches of the dry rivers, but you could see from here where you could cut the slope till the summit over there. We will do it the hard way.
So there's an easy way and a hard way. We're doing the hard way. Wonderful. This is the easy way.
Yeah.
Right up this slope and then take a right on the ridge line.
Yeah. So there is another interesting feature here. You could see on this cliff the difference of colors. You have down below the yellow rocks that are the part of the original crust, and over it these volcanic ashes that accumulate in certain places in a very impressive thick layer. You know, it's pretty amazing to think about how many materials accumulate over the original crust.
So you're saying the darker layer on top of the yellow layer is volcanic ash?
Yes, absolutely. So we could see here the limitation of the separation of the original ground and what accumulate over it. Pretty impressive.
The yellow layer is the original ground.
Yes, the lower layer, yeah, and the upper layer is the accumulation.
You have to be a real detective to piece together the forces that formed the terrain we're looking at right now. Okay, you're going to notice a dramatic change in this nice wide wash. Suddenly, things narrow. So Jean-Luc, what's happening here?
So the water was digging back in the days, and we are jumping over these surrounding outcrops here. But finally, it started to dig more and more and find a way through this crack on the rocky outcrop here. And so To turn around that, we have to climb by the right. You could climb it by the left, but it will be much longer path to come back on it, because we will have a look once climbing this outcrop and going down on the other side. We will come back inside the canyon. So in this, at the entrance of this canyon, there is a waterfall, a very tall one that it's impossible to climb down without climbing devices. So we will turn around up by the right, go down and enter the slot canyon, then continuing down below to the final point.
All right. And there's Jean-Luc starting up over the bypass to this narrow area in the wash. And again, the wash we've been in. And here's a little unexpected arch. As we head up this bypass.
Yep.
So how did you come up? Did you come up that way?
No, this way.
That way? Okay.
And look at that. Here. Look at me.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Hey, stay there. Let me get a shot of you. And here we are above the wash, the arch, and the slot canyon. And just the southeastern edge of Fortification Hill.
So this is the entrance of this slot canyon, and we will go down the slope and come back on it. And for the first time we could see the Lake Mead with this tile site that recovers the rock, showing the higher level of the Lake Mead. That happened in 1982, if I remember correctly. And here down below we'll go down this slope to reach the canyon, and we will come back inside the slot canyon here, all along. Beautiful narrow and slot canyon that to explore. A little extra on the run. So back on the lake, we could see where there is the shade, the place where we have to go up until the summit. It goes straight. On the summit of it, we will turn around by the right to find an easy way to the last rock to climb. It's probably 15 or 16 feet high to climb. Pay attention to this part, it will be the harder part. Otherwise, just after the slot canyon, turning by the left, you could cut all of the slopes to reach the summit this way. This is the easier way. The harder way right here. But it worth the trip because of the view. Promontory point here, and the very last summit before and over the Cape Horn that marked the bend of the final entrance to the dam of the Colorado River and Lake Mead.
Okay, and here we can see the Colorado River channel as it approaches Hoover Dam. And you can see the barrier for debris and to keep boats out because you're too close to the dam. And you can see the calcite layer from the high mark of Lake Mead. Our goal is beyond this high point ahead. Here we are looking down into the canyon below. And we'll get a better look at that narrow slot canyon that we have been bypassing on this hill when we get down there. And also, here is a lava tube. So it is amazing. Let's get a better look at this. Yeah. Wow, look in there. It's amazing the force that brought all this material up from below during a volcanic eruption. Okay, now, Jean-Luc, tell us about what's next.
Okay, we will use these gentle slope, the rhyolite volcanic rocks, to reach the dry riverbed down below. And here, once we will reach it, we will turn left to explore the slot canyon on the left, and then we will come back. And once we will come back at the same point, we will follow this dry riverbed, paying a lot of attention at the vertical cliff where we could see the shade on the right, because this is the exact path that we will use to go up just underneath the cliff. So you have, it's very nice to see it now, because once we will be down below, it will be very hard, because it's narrow and deep. It will be very hard to see the direction. So you have to imagine and take some landmark. I have some, so I use these big collapsed rocks and I know the place very well, so I know exactly. But once you're down below, if you're not familiar with this place, it will be hard to find a way. So we'll cut the slope, being over the calcite marking, and then cutting the slope to reach the bottom of the cliff with the shade on its right, and then going up just underneath the cliff. It will be very steep. There is no major difficulties except that there's a lot of collapsed rock and loose gravels, so pay attention to it. It's not that bad. Once we will be on the top of it, we have to turn around the outcrop by the right. There's an access by the left. It makes a corner, but it's much more difficult to climb this corner. So turn by the right, and there is an easy access on the other side to reach the top.
So simple a child could do it, right?
So that's why I show before the easy way. So the easy way on the bottom of the just at the exit of the Slot Canyon, you could reach, you could gain some altitude, and then cutting the slope to reach the saddle over there, you will be at 300 yards or 400 yards away from the summit that we are aiming at.
Okay, so that's the easy way.
Yeah.
And this is the hard way. We're evidently going the hard way.
Yeah, you could also remember the easy way as an easy way to come back down below, because we will use the summit of this long plateau to come back to the car. So if you are lacking of time, you could come down this way, going up the hard way, going down this way, and then staying enough high to turn over this outcrop, and then you're on the wash.
Okay, and there's no passage through the base of the Slot Canyon, you're saying?
No, it's there's a vertical waterfall, impossible to pass.
Okay.
Just to have a look at the kind of slope to reach the river bed down below. And by the way, this is the only easy access. If you continue too much, it became basically impossible to go down because of the vertical cliff. So we will reach soon the bottom of the dry bed, just right here. There are some loose gravels on the rhyolite, so take a little bit of precaution to don't roll over one of these loose gravel, but it's an easy way to go down. And we are now at the entrance of the Slot Canyon. Remember that to continue the adventure we have to turn right down below.
Okay, we've just descended this slope. We're back in the wash. Let's take a look at that Slot Canyon above. Wow, look at the sculpting on these rocks, and there's even echo in here. You can tell we're in the Slot Canyon area. The white is calcite, which is only formed by the interaction of water and these rocks. So you can imagine the level of water roaring down this canyon was at the level of the white calcite. The end of the slot canyon. Wow, look at that.
David just finished the last steps on the rocky outcrop to go down the dry river bed, and we enter now the Slot Canyon. The beauty of this hike is that there's so much to explore, to look at. It's amazing. Look at that. How the erosion sculpt these rocks. There's a lot of evidence of wild donkeys and bighorn sheep. How clever these plants choose to grow just outside of the swirling waters when there's a flash flood. A lava tube here. Look at that. And we are soon reaching the vertical waterfall that mark the entrance of this narrow canyon. It seems to me that the bottom elevates a little bit since the last time I was there. It wasn't as such high layer here. Just coming here for having a look at this narrow canyon worth the trip. A lot of owl poop. To give you an idea of the scale, David is entering the Slot Canyon here.
Something tells me you must have reached the barrier. Vertical waterfall ahead.
Yeah. Look at that.
It is totally amazing. What an echo. It narrows even more. Oh yeah. This looks like the spot where you'd need a rope, or you'd be a very good free climber, because this is all smooth. And there you have waiting for you a nice choke stone that you hope is lodged in there really well. Oh, just amazing.
There's a good example here.
What are you seeing there?
Yeah, there's a good example here, just on the waterfall of a xenolith rock. You have to imagine xeno, stranger, foreign, abroad, and lith rock. So this rock was encapsulated in the volcanic ashes, and it pops up on the surface, erupting, and including the original crust, and collapsing on the side of the volcano. And here you have the remnant of this prisoner rock.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So by the way, I am surprised since the last time I was there, how I accumulate the gravel on the bottom of it. It was much, much taller back in the days.
oh.
But you know, it's one flash flood could bring tons and tons of gravels, and the next one remove everything, you know, so it's...
Always changing.
Yeah. There's an interesting thing to see. Here is the how many events created this thickness of volcanic ashes. You could see here the limit of the previous eruption that was recovered by the next eruption here. So the ancient one, the newer one, and so there is the fault continuing here. It's much more evident here because the erosion removed a lot of it. So there is vertical crack like this one or this one, but this one are mainly due to the pressure and the contraction of the rock when it cooled down. And so, but the horizontal one are due to
Layering.
to the two separated eruption.
Huh.
We
So
could see.
I would have thought that that horizontal crack was
So there's
from an
another-
earthquake or something, but no, it's a different layer.
Yeah, yeah. And
Look
so
at
there's a, so this is the first layer of the ancient one, then a more recent one, and then the third one, we could clearly see the separation here. So at least this thickness takes 3 volcanic eruptions to be created.
Wow. And lava tubes. So there's probably quite a network of lava tubes that we cannot see running through this entire area. Its own underground world.
So you could observe these white stains that goes up, and underneath the suspended rock there is a crack with white stains too, showing us that this is a owl nest. And I was doing this supposition, but I tell to David, it will be great to climb this rock, to put the hand on the nest, to bring back some
Regurgitation.
yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate your help. And so, regurgitation, balls of hair and bones. But guess what? Look what I found here. This is a good example of this thing. They swallow the mouse, digest it, and throw away what they can digest. So it makes a balls of stones and hair. A mouse is there in this tiny thing. So pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, that's what happens to you if an owl eats you.
Yeah, but
You'll end up like this.
yeah, for us we need a big one. Okay, we are pretty fat.
I don't want to see that owl.
Okay, so just to show you how interesting it could be to observe the surrounding, because there's plenty to see and to guess and to find. It's a pretty amazing place, you know?
Oh yeah, and also the hanging gardens here.
Yeah,
And you wonder how a plant like this gets started.
the interesting thing is that the wind and the water have basically the same effect on the rocks. It sculpts the rock the same way, but basically the air is a very light fluid. Water is a hard one that have a better action because of its mass. And look how it sculpts the rocks. For many of you that are watching this channel knows probably Antelope Canyon in Page in Arizona, and down the canyons over there, it's sculpted the same way. For example, you have the Lady in the Wind, very famous in the lower Antelope Canyon rock sculpture. And here you could imagine what you want, but the shaped and rounded rocks are basically amazing. There is also scary thing, you know. I will show you. Look at these suspended rocks over there. You know? So don't start to try to climb such a place. It will collapse one of these days, you know? Don't speak too loud, you know?
Yeah, this is where a helmet would not help you.
Absolutely. Or at least you need a big one. So the crowd are flying.
The crow says, "You're not fooling me."
Well, but I do that because I want them to come back. So I call them in a certain way. Yeah. Slot Canyon, and we are at the at the upper limit of the Lake Mead that was reached in 1982, if I remember correctly. And so the water, you could see what is this deposit on the rock, to have a closer look, because everybody is curious about this white deposit, but you could clearly see here what it looks like. And basically the lake never reached over this rock that marked the real entrance of this slot canyon. Okay, David, let's go down a little bit, and then we will climb this slope over there.
Okay. And now we're continuing on down past the slot canyon toward Lake Mead. You can see the white calcite layer marking the high point of Lake Mead. Again, the white is calcite marking the high point of Lake Mead, early 1980s. Let's see how far we can get down this canyon before we reach a barrier. Okay, so the question is, where do you begin to climb? And we've been coming down this canyon below the slot canyon, and we reach this first little vertical area, this first vertical drop. And you can look ahead and remember that passage, that gully that was in the shade. There it is. So we want to get from here to the entrance of that gully. We're going to take that gully upward. And a good way to do that would be to ascend at this point and then traverse the slope, maybe along the white line there, over to the gully, and then ascend. And what you're looking at now, you can't see the Colorado River at this point, or the channel that's leading to Hoover Dam, but this ridge that you're looking at ahead is actually on the far side of the Colorado River channel. And here we're looking down the continuation of this wash that we've been in from the beginning.
The slot canyon exit is just a couple of 100 yards away, and then you go down the wash and you reach this first short drop Then there's another one, and then there's a series of short drop, but taller and taller. So the good thing is when you reach this first drop, you cut the slope right here to reach the shade on the bottom of this cliff. This is where started the ascending last slope to the summit. So if you continue this dry bed, the canyon becomes narrower and narrower, and then you have to go underneath a big boulder that collapses from the right slope and stay stuck on it. There is a short climb to go down, and then you will reach a creek that finally reach the Lake Mead just before the limit where it's possible to access with boats. So for sure this creek depends on the level of the lake, but if you have a kayak, try to enter this slot canyon that's finished this canyon, and it's an interesting place to discover and explore. Okay, next step, we cut the slope, reaching the bottom of the cliff where there is this huge shade, and then we will stay on the bottom of the cliff all along till the summit. We are here in the middle of the desert, and once the lake reached this upper limit, and look what you could find. Shells. So it shows that this desert was once recovered by water. So a little bit further down you will find some mussel shells, the one that parasite the whole lake and create a lot of problems in the turbines that spin at a high speed. But whatever, the mussels like to stay stuck on the turbine, and that's why they have to replace the turbine, just like we saw in the boneyard 10 days ago when we did the hiking to promontory point over there. Okay, let's start the climbing.
And now we're ascending above the wash below. Good view now. You can see a portion of the Colorado River channel at the base of Promontory Point as it nears Hoover Dam. And we're continuing along up this slope. We'll go around and then up that crack that is in the shade just beyond Jean-Luc. End up at the top up here.
So it's not that hard to cut the slope between the rocks, and then I will go down a little bit to reach the bottom of the cliff that will bring us to the summit. And pretty fast, having a look at the Lake Mead. The Hoover Dam is just on the left of it. Yep. So, as you see, David is cutting the slope, not being too high, otherwise you will hit the cliff. Down below the wash, the lake, and here at the entrance of this fall that will bring us to the summit. Just to remember that the last time I did this hike, I was with my nephew Yuri. Hi Yuri, over there in close to the Basque the Basque country in southwest of France. He sailed good wines over there. He's a good guy, afraid of nothing in the mountain. It was a great hike with him, and today another great hike with David here. I am now at the bottom of this cliff. We will turn around these big boulders. There's a lot of zigzag to do, and over the top we will turn around by the right of this bump here to find an access on the other side of it. But there's an access, the harder one, on the corner of this cliff and the bump over there. The view over the lake, and so the second rock with the sun on the top and the shade on the bottom shows approximately that it's 45 meters down the upper limit. So there's probably 5 or 6 meters from this rock down the water. So it makes approximately, to my opinion, over 50 to 55 meters down below. It makes approximately 170 feet under the maximum level. A last look at the slope that we have to go. It looks chaotic, but it's not that bad once you're on it. There's plenty of good catch. It's basically a giant stair to go. By the way, there's a lot of caves on the side of this cliff, and I won't be surprised if we will see some owl flying over us, even if it's in the beginning of the evening, of the morning, excuse me. But these guys see nobody during their day sleep, and if you go by, they probably have to fly over us. So just stay alert about it.
Okay, here's the canyon. We just came down beyond the slot canyon. See how the canyon continues downward? The high water mark of Lake Mead is the white strip. And here we are at the base of Lake Mead, Promontory Point across. And then here is the gully we're going to ascend. Okay, it's getting class 3-ish. We just came up this area and continuing on up, hugging the cliff on our left.
So in place to turn around the big boulders at the entrance of this path, I choose to turn by the left of these rocks.
Here comes David.
Yeah, David is there, and as you see, it's a giant stair, but no major difficulties. You will always find a way to go up. So as you see, you gain a lot of elevation pretty fast. Just like I said, it's basically a giant stair, and down below the last part of the Lake Mead before the dam, and a little bit further the Boulder City Basin on the bottom of the slope of fortification here. So we could see the corner of this big bump and the cliff. This is one of the possibility to climb, but this is the harder way. Once on the bottom of the bump, we'll turn it by the right. On the back it's much easier. And by the way, the view on the back of this boulder is amazing over the lake. Once again, surreal and completely incredible landscape. As you see, no technical difficulties. Just take your time, step by step, and it's gonna be okay.
Continuing up this crack, this is the crack that was in the shade that we saw below. There's the canyon we were in, and now you can see a little more of Lake Mead. You can see the point of Promontory Point. And over here, Fortification Hill. And here's the cliff we've been hugging all the way up. You can see Jean-Luc continuing. So here we go.
I am already mid-course on the bottom of this cliff. I see many caves, many holes on the cliff where birds and bats are nesting. Okay, just have to continue. David is still down below. Beautiful place, but look at what I collect here. And also over here there is a red balloon that land here, stuck in a bush. This is the second balloon that I find in this area. It shows how the dominant wind from Vegas blow. So I cleaned the whole hike from trash, and I already have a bag full of trash. Once again, the second balloon. So think about it when you celebrate an anniversary or a birthday. The corner of the fault that you could climb, it's not a long thing, easier because you have the corner, but this is the harder. So once I will be on the bottom of this bump, I will turn by the right. And an amazing view on the Cape Horn on the sun that marks the entrance of the last channel that brings you to the Hoover Dam. Over there, Wilson Peak in Arizona. We are on the Arizona side of the Colorado River. And by the way, this is the place where it's already an hour late than on the Nevada side. Over there, this is the mountain time. Over there, the Pacific time.
Continuing up along the edge of the cliff. And see a little more of the route now. Jean-Luc continuing on through that opening. What I wanted to point out here, a little more of Promontory Point, the very point, Fortification Hill on the right, Promontory Point, with that white strip. There's the very point. Okay, here's the cliff base we have been hugging as we continue to ascend. And upward, you can see where Jean-Luc is. Either around to your right, and I think that's the way we're going to go, unless you want to go straight up this crack. I think that's the more difficult way. And then here's a view more expansive of the Colorado River channel approaching Hoover Dam, Promontory Point, the very point. Fortification Hill, you see more of it now beyond this ridge or peak in the foreground. And over to Mount Wilson. And down to the canyon that we ascended from. So, onward and upward. And then, I'm not sure, there were a few other washes that we passed, but here you can trace our way up this wash, whether it's this wash or another one that's split off more to the right. Either way, you're going to end up on Kingman Wash Access Road. And you see the line of the road up there. Always good to know what things are going to look like on the way back, if we choose this way.
David is finishing the last slope to reach the bottom of the bump here, right here. I will show you in a minute the first possibility to climb. Down below is the dry bed that we were in, and over there the curve that mark the entrance of the different channels of dry rivers inside the Slot Canyon. Okay, fortification hill on the background, the final basin before the dam, and here on the corner of the cliff we were along, and there is the first possibility to reach the summit it's not that bad, pretty easy, but the upper part is very narrow, so if you have a backpack, you see it's quite easy to reach the bottom of it, but if you have a backpack you have to climb on the left of it, and that means taking more risk. So not a terrible way to reach the final plateau to the summit, but all along the bump, turning by the right, there is the easier access. So if you pay attention, there's a lot of rock crystals that are the result of the mineralization and crystallization of the hot water pushed to the surface by the hot magma that try to reach the surface. So we came by the dry bed that comes on the right side of the mountain, and as you see, the car is over there, but you could choose to go down this canyon, but in case you choose to come back through the ridges over there, if you choose the second canyon, it will be a longer way.
Here's the route we've been ascending, and up here is one pathway upward. Gets a little iffy right near the top, and if you've got a large backpack, the squeeze could be very interesting as you're on a slightly exposed area and all of a sudden your backpack stops. So what we're going to do is we're going around this way. I understand there's a ledge around this corner too, but it doesn't have the backpack trapping squeeze.
Okay, turning around the bump. Ooh, beautiful crystals. All around. Okay, this is this short climb that we will use to reach the final plateau. So this cliff, this short cliff, is the main technical difficulty, and it's not that bad. Plenty of catch for the hands and food, so it won't be too difficult. But just in case, I will do the insurance to David with a rope if needed. Right here is the red buoy that mark the limit of the accessible part of Lake Mead, and as you could see, the vertical cliff that plunge inside the lake. So Lake Mead this way, Hoover Dam this way, just 500 feet away, and promontory point that we did a week ago with the overlook that we joined just on the top of this cliff right here. We were on the top of this black rocky outcrop, and on the flat plateau down below on the left. This is where we could have the best view over the dam. So nothing could bring you to think that the dam is just on the back of it. And I will come back on the bottom of the bump to reach David over there. He should be on the top now. David, I don't know if my mic will work correctly because you're a little bit far away, but what do you think about this place?
Well, it's been great. The views keep expanding as you ascend, and the actual ascent route up to this point has not been any more than a light class 3, if you know where the steps are.
Yeah, there is no technical difficulty. The technical difficulty is waiting for us in my back. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that you will find it okay. For sure, when you start to climb, you have to take some precaution, always having a 3 holding point, 2 hands and 1 foot during moving the next foot, or 2 foot, 1 hand when you move the next hand.
Oh, and you were saying that this crack up here,
yeah,
is also a way, but it's steeper?
No, it's not steeper, but the exit is narrow. So if you have a backpack, the exit of this crack will be difficult because you have to get out on the left of the crack.
Oh yeah.
So if you have nothing else than a tiny backpack, or you're not as fat as us, it will be okay. Otherwise, the other way on the back of it is much easier.
Okay, well, we'll do the one on the back.
So now we are at the bottom of this short cliff to climb. You have to visualize where you could go through. There's plenty of good catch for hand and foot, but it depends on yourself. It's not that difficult. But David, what do you think about this thing?
Well, first of all, I'm going to name it the Ledge of Death.
Ledge of Death.
The Ledge of Death.
The little death.
So yeah, it looks, I can see the pathway.
Yeah, but
I can see that when you get near the top.
Yeah, but if you choose this way, you have to anticipate this roof over there that will pushes you down below. So it looks engaging this way. But once you will be there, you have to turn around this rock. So it will be much easier to go this way or to choose to go on the right side of it. To me, I will choose to go straight.
You're gonna go straight. Okay.
Look at that. There's several steps, easy step.
Yeah.
But surely you don't have to fall down, so you have to take care.
Yeah.
And you have to respect the rule of three holds rule. Okay.
Yes.
You never want to be on 2 hold only.
Okay.
So every time you move a hand or a foot, you have to think about having the 3 others
3 points of contact
before moving one. Okay.
You know, I think I'm going to go up this way.
So it's up to you, because
go around.
Yeah, if you feel more comfortable,
Yeah,
you know, the feeling makes a lot of thing in this kind of places.
Yes,
okay?
definitely.
So if you feel it more comfortable this way, okay. But let me climb this thing, and I will assure you with a rope once I will be on the top. Okay.
Show me how
So
to do it.
may I give you the camera?
Oh yeah. Is it? Are we rolling?
It's film. Yeah. It's,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Well then. Get going.
Okay, so let's go places. I usually have to hold my shit. Stop. So I check.
Okay,
that?
that's why I'm not going that way.
Yeah. So this one was very bad. Ooh.
Yeah.
So you know, I was thinking to go there, but this thing blocked me a little bit. Oops. So I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
So
Well, there's video editing gonna happen there.
I will go this way. But you know, I did a mistake. I tried to hold my stick, you know,
Yeah.
which is a bad idea. I will.
That looks a little more doable, actually.
Yeah, this one looks much better.
Okay. Ah. Oh, that's a nice little spear waiting to come down and meet you.
Yeah. So, okay, I respect the rule of 3 points.
Okay, when you get up there, I'll throw your camera to you. How's that?
So, I'm out of trouble now because it's basically flat here,
Okay.
and this is it.
Okay, we've come up this nice light class 3 stretch. And now, take a look at this. Here's the ledge of death. And there are 3 options. There's the one on the left. You go up and then you cling for your life as you circle around here and then continue on up. There is this route in the center, which Jean-Luc started to come up and decided, nope, that's not the way he wanted to go. So he descended and came up this route, which he says is the easiest, and it might actually be. And then he's up at the top. He's got his rope ready for David. We'll see how this all plays out. And yeah, the exposure is not like a mile or anything, not 1,000 feet. It's just down to this ledge right here, which makes me more comfortable. Okay, so getting ready to ascend. Here goes David. Okay, we are at the top. David made it up. And here's Jean-Luc with his rope. And he was ready, if I had slipped, to swing me up with the rope. I would be like a pendulum, probably. Who knows where I would have ended up. Fortunately, I did not need the rope. And there is that final stretch from above. And look at this. Wow. What a spectacular view. The Colorado River channel beginning here as it streams toward Hoover Dam. And we're looking upstream toward Lake Mead. Wow, look at this. We'll ascend a little higher before doing the 360-degree view, but from here, it is just amazing. So what did you think of this, Jean-Luc?
So I recognize that this whole hike could finish in such difficulty for certain people, you know. It's not that bad. It's probably, I would say, 12 to 15 feet, but you don't have to fall because the bottom is rocky. So you have to be sure that you will be able to climb such cliff without being scared and paralyzed in the middle of it. So experience people in your group have a rope. It will be nice to reassure someone that are not very familiar with such thing. It's not that difficult, but the problem is that just like ever, the feeling that you have about your surrounding influence a lot the feeling you have in such place, you know. But if you make abstraction of the cliff that jump on the lake, it's not that difficult.
Well, do notice that I did not stop halfway up and pull my phone out and take a video.
Yeah. This is the kind of place where you don't do selfie, you know.
That's right, no selfies allowed.
Or you have to be assured by a rope or something, someone that help you. But yeah, no, it was the only technical difficulty. The slope underneath the cliff was physical, but not that long, so
no,
it's feasible.
Light class 3.
You gain a lot of altitude because, you know, we were basically at the bottom of this dry bed that exit in this canyon, marked by this cape that prolongs in the lake. So when I did some measurement, you see the saddle basically at the extremity of this this cape. It marks basically 45 meters. It means 135 feet underneath the maximum level. It was an approximation that I did one day. So usually when the lake is full, you could navigate with your kayak over this little saddle on this cape. Today, on winter time, the lake is a little bit low, and I will say probably 5 meters down the saddle, approximately, making 50 meters down below. It makes 150 feet below the maximum surface, the maximum level. So on the left side of the canyon, we have Cape Horn, okay, that climb directly to the summit that are dominating the Cape Horn. And then over there you have the promontory point on the left that we did 10 days ago, I think, something like that. And we will show you later the point of view that we choose when we reach the other side of these ridges. The point of view that we choose to have a look at the dam. But right here, follow me please. We are just underneath.
Just a moment.
Yep.
I just wanted to make one remark about this little climb. And what I've got to say is that after climbing in the Rainbow Mountains, where all the rock is loose and sandstone, I got to say that this rock had a real solid feeling with a lot of handholds, and so it really was not difficult at all, as long as you held on to the next handhold and you kept 3 points of contact. Okay, what do you want to show us, Jean-Luc?
I just want to show you that we are just underneath the summit. The summit is a little bit further, but once we will be on the top of this rock, it will be basically flat. and we will dominate the Hoover Dam, and on the background the bridge. So I don't remember exactly the name of the bridge. It's Pat something.
Mallory something.
No,
Oh no, that's the arch.
Madigan. We will.
Yeah,
make
yeah.
a-
We'll put the name of the bridge on the
Yeah, because
annotation of the video.
Our brain are pretty old, you know. We use it too much, and so
Yeah, I guess there's a Mallory Arch, which is in El Dorado Wilderness.
it's Pat Munigam or something like that.
Yeah,
and,
we'll figure it out.
and the name of a soldier that I think passed away in Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is I don't
Memorial
remember.
Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go up to the summit now.
Okay.
By the way, yeah, just look at the terrain up here. You can see that it's much more friendly up here, wide open, very nice. But the trip up was exciting and fun. And here's a higher view of that slope that we ascended to get to this point, right along the base of the cliff. And then you can see the canyon below. Heading up to the summit now. It just seems that there will be a view second to none from the top here. Let's find out. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow. And you see the bridge over Highway 11 bridge over the Colorado River Channel, part of Hoover Dam. We'll get a better view. We're going right to the overlook. Wow. Doesn't get better than this. Colorado River Channel, streaming out of Lake Mead. And to Hoover Dam. Wow. There's the parking area. If you've been to Hoover Dam, you've probably parked there. And here's the bridge. Sugarloaf Mountain. Now let's see if we can find, yeah, Hoover Peak. Right over here. And then as you're moving toward Sugarloaf Mountain, just to the right, Gold Strike Mountain. And on the horizon, the Mount Wilson ridgeline. Mount Wilson. And over here to Fortification Hill. Back to the Colorado River channel. And then up and over to the summit of Promontory Point. And then you can see how it slopes downward. Ending at the very point down below. Totally spectacular. Okay, if you've seen the Promontory Point video, yeah, there's the summit of Promontory Point. Remember there was a northeast and southwest summit area. There they are. And remember when we were looking down on Hoover Dam, there is the plateau we were standing on and looking straight down toward Hoover Dam below. Okay, Colorado River Channel. Summit of this northern viewpoint. Hoover Dam. Bridge. And now it's time to head back. So we're taking a different route back, making a great loop, and Jean-Luc's going to describe.
Yeah, so we came down below the canyon and we climbed. We were just underneath this cliff right here, and we reached the summit basically instantly. We pop up, I think it was right here from the climbing cliff. Okay, so after having some snack and relaxing a little bit, we will follow this outcrop, rocky outcrop, going down on the other side, climbing the next rocky outcrop, and then following the side of the ridge to have a look over the volcanic ashes cliff that we saw when we came along the canyon. And then we will turn a little bit on the right to reach the very end of this ashes outcrop, and we will go down that, find a way to go down, and then we will be on the what I call the Badland Hills. We will make a point once over there to see with the GPS where is located the car, because you see nothing, and we will choose a direction and going up and down several times until reaching the car.
Yeah, and what Jean-Luc described about referring to the GPS, you know, you look at this terrain and you think, wow, it's wide open, no trees, no clouds, and it's impossible to get lost. But boy, you get into these canyons, you can get lost, and you can run out of water. We have people that have lost their life every year. People die in these canyons, especially in the summer, but even during this time of year, it's happened because it's not as simple as it looks.
So once again, we have to you have to think in such places in the micromanagement. We talked about that the last time, micromanagement and the macro management. Okay, so for example, to me, the macro management will be the Wilson Peak on Arizona. It will be one of the higher peak that I will see mostly everywhere. So it will give me always an idea of the direction. And micromanagement is thinking about, I will do this outcrop, then go down on the saddle, then reach the next one, following the ridge, just like I explained before. And this is how you won't lose your path, because it's very easy to lose it. And view from over there, it happened very fast that you lost your landmark, you know, so you have to pay attention to it. We're in the beginning of January. Easy piece of cake. It's cold. Look at that t-shirt. It's so cold that we are in t-shirt. But at night or in the middle of the summer or in the beginning of fall, it could kill you, this place, easy. So you have to always be really aware where you are, where you go, and so.
Yeah, and one thing about the desert is that the temperature at night drops dramatically, and so even in the summer you can have hypothermia.
Yeah. Now it's a place that you have to consider, you know, just like high mountains. You don't make joke with such places, okay? You take it seriously, but and you have to know it, to practice it before engaging yourself on something that exceeds your possibilities.
Okay, well let's continue on.
Yep, let's go.
Summit where we stood just a moment ago. Right there. And the canyon we ascended is below. And remember, that's Slot Canyon. That's the Slot Canyon we were in. So Jean-Luc, tell us what the next stretch is.
So from here, 200 yards after the summit, you have the easy descent, if you want to cut on this slope, going over and on the right of the Slot Canyon that we explored a little bit earlier. But we will stay on the upper ridge, following the line of the cliff, and then come back on the right over there to have a better view all along. It's a pretty interesting terrain.
Okay, and we were looking up at this line of cliffs earlier. And remember, we were talking about the layers, and there's a base layer along that cliff that is lighter colored, and then the layer above, darker colored, is from the volcanic eruption. Okay, here we go. Just a quick look where we are on this ridgeline. The summit we came from. So you'll recognize a lot of these landmarks. There's the wash we came down, except we took a right turn right about this spot. This is a neighboring wash that continues on up. They both end up at Kingman Wash Access Road. And then on up.
Okay, the summit just right here, following the top ridges line with amazing eroded volcanic ashes. I will try to find an exit over here on the other side. Look at that. It looks like it will be possible to continue. Otherwise, there's an easy access if you go down. Look at that. Surrealistic landscape. The ground is an accumulation of foreign rocks and volcanic ashes. The grit on the soils are very good. Very pleasant to walk over this road. Some are loose, but most of them hold pretty well. Big horn resting place. The bridge is still there. And so we have the I-11 that crossed this short canyon over a bridge, another one, but down below was the original route that links Phoenix, Arizona to Las Vegas. And this route was notorious because at the end of every weekend and on Friday and Saturdays it was completely jammed with an incredible traffic. There's a lot of video on YouTube and that talk about that. And now the bridge over the Colorado River fixed this problem because all of the traffic had to go through the road on top of the dam. So today it goes over the bridge. Not only it's more direct, but there is 2 lines of traffic each way. It's much easier, much direct and much faster than before. So imagine traffic jam all along this place to go to the dam and before the dam on the other way. Completely crazy. Okay, we are now on the side of these ridges, completely burned by the heat of the volcanoes, and then thousands of years after, life still has difficulty to grow here. A creosote bush ready to make some tiny flowers here. It's once again it's beginning of January, so the desert plants are ready to bloom at the first winter rain. Creosote again. Not too much. Different kind of plants. Some cactus. That's it. That's it. If you spend the day making the catalog of the plant, at the end of the day you will finish the list of it.
Another view along the way. See, tracing our way along this ridge and back over to the summit we were on. And just continuing on this ridge. Nice, gradual. But with an amazing mountaintop view. And here we have another road leading to Hoover Dam, the viewpoint. And you can see the I-11 toward Arizona, or we're in Arizona, but further into Arizona. There's the beginning of the bridge that'll take you across. There's Sugarloaf Mountain. There's the bridge. Take you over into Nevada. Good vantage point to view that ridge we've been on. And there you can follow it along to the high point. Then over to Promontory Point, toward Lake Mead, the canyon we were in. And now we are above that narrow slot canyon area, and I think the continuation of this rocky ridgeline is what made for that slot canyon. And then continuing on ahead, there's Jean-Luc. And then over to a nice view of Sugarloaf Mountain. The lighting's a little better from this point. Okay, continuing onward. And by the way, Jean-Luc spoke about an easier route, and that would be this slope immediately below, and you can see how it continues in a pretty gradual way down to the canyon below. So that's another way to get up to this point, is take that more gradual slope, and you can probably find additional gradual slopes over in this direction. Continuing on. Okay, Jean-Luc is going to show from this next high point our path back.
So, okay, we will continue over the ridges there. Then it slightly turn to the right over there, and then at the very end we will find a way to go down. And we will be in these series of Badland hills over there, trying to find a way between these canyons or some low summit over there to reach the car. The car is somewhere on the back of this rocky outcrop there. So it will be, we are 2 or 3 miles away from the car. But I would like to show you something else. One of the next adventure will be to going down this wash, entering this canyon here, and then find a slope to reach the summit of this mountain, the taller one, and then following the ridge until the Kingman Wash end of the road, flying all along over the lake. And the more we go this way, the more we will discover the Boulder Basin, and with the whole view. And this is one of the best hikes in the vicinity here too.
You say that about every single hike. This is the best hike.
But it's true. I don't know. You know, when you do such places all the time, at the end you never know which one is the best. You know, it's a paradox.
Further along the ridge, looking around. Here's a little pinnacle we saw on the way. Now we're looking at it from above rather than below. So where to now?
So we will climb this rocky volcanic acid drop, and it goes at the extremity of it. And just to remind you that we came through the canyon between these two mountains over there. We came down below, so the car is at the exit of this canyon that makes a slight curve on the right on the back of this mountain. So because we will go this way, in place to try to reach this canyon over there, we will cut through the hills, and then we will use one of the paths over there on the canyon, and just after a while we will reach the Kingman Wash Road and then the car.
All right.
Okay, we know that the road that goes up there is the South Mine Road. Okay, the South Mine Road, and we pass this road and we park the car just a quarter of a mile after the connection of this road. So the car is there because the North Mine road is over there. So the car is just on the left of the South Mine Road. Once again, it shows how you have to remember the landmark to find your way, because otherwise you will never know, except if you have a GPS. You know? But otherwise, we use the GPS. But now I have the landmark in my head, so I remember it. I know exactly where to go.
Okay, let's continue on. And now here's the next stretch. We're going to wind around this ridge, then downward below, and then take the washes below toward our starting point on Kingman Wash Access Road. And look at this amazing formation. Fortification Hill on the horizon, and the Wilson Ridgeline. Just came over this loose rock ledge, and yeah, it's like a cheese grater if you slip, but made it just fine. And then you can see canyons below. We got a ways till we hit the bottom of this. There's a little arch. And Jean-Luc continuing. Now we don't know what it looks like around the next bend there, but we're going to find out. Continuing down this ridge line, and there is actually a Bighorn Express trail right here to help ease the way. Jean-Luc. Highway 11 in the background. We'll take this little trail down to the bottom, and you can see the trail continuing. If you look carefully, you can make it out below there. So we'll continue on this trail, get us down below. Then we need to angle our way toward Mount Wilson as reference point. Okay, we worked our way down this ridge that you see above, descended into this gully, and now, what do you know, here's the cairn. And here's the terrain ahead. And one thing I'll say is that one way to cheat is to keep Mount Wilson in view. And you can head toward Mount Wilson all the way from the highest point where we were looking down on Hoover Dam. And you continue using Mount Wilson as your guidance. Here's where we were, that ridge top. Then we angled over to this wash, and we're going to take the wash and see if it leads us close to where we want to be on Kingman Wash Access Road. So let's see what happens. And now above the wash, it's over to our left, we find ourselves on a trail. Where it leads, we do not know for certain, but when we get to a high point, we're going to take a look at where Mount Wilson is. Good shot of Sugarloaf Mountain. And Highway 11. Okay, somehow we ended up traversing this slope. Jean-Luc says that there was a bighorn sheep trail there. I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, we traversed the slope, and guess what? Here we are back at Kingman Wash Access Road. We know that the South Mine Road is right up here. You can see the sign. And we are between the South Mine Road and the North Mine Road. So that gives you an idea where we are as we head for the home stretch. And now over this ridge, we're looking down at the car on Kingman Wash Access Road. So we've made it full circle. And in the background, Fortification Hill. Then over the top, and we came on the left side of this hill. What an amazing place. And now we begin to recognize all the mountains and hills. There's Sugarloaf Mountain. Then over this direction, Fortification Hill. And then over in this direction, one of our reference points, Mount Wilson. And this is the South Mine Road, heading upward. And this is Kingman Wash Access Road.